What's happening, everybody? Time to talk about Anthem. Here it is. Everybody been trashing it since launch. I've had it since launch. Haven't got as much time as I anticipated having by this point, especially with the Division 2 coming up and then Sekiro soon after that. But more on that stuff later. So, been playing Anthem and actually have been enjoying a bit of it. It does still have some of the same flaws that we kind of saw in both of the quote unquote, did they call them betas? Yeah, I think they did call them beta weekends, but demos, whatever. It's so close to release. Those are basically demos. So had a bunch of notes and just been talking about it outside of this. I think on Twitter and then just with friends, and somebody else asked me at Gales Ministry, asked how I've been, or if I've been enjoying the game, whatnot. But before we get into that, two Dragon disclaimers. First one, I have not finished the game yet, so all this is still kind of early on. Number two, all the gameplay that you see here will be spoiler free. Hopefully, like I said, most of it is still from the earliest points of the game, and I'm cutting out loading screens and cutscenes, getting all the way, especially the load screens, because I went through that, so you don't have to go through that. And that's a good segue because there are a fuck ton of loading screens in this game. There are load screens for everything. Don't make the mistake that I did when you finish with a mission and you need to go to the Forge, but you go to Fort Tarsis first. And I don't know why I did this. I wanted to go to the Forge first, and as soon as I hit, I was thinking, "What an idiot!" Because now I'm gonna have to go through another loading screen to get to the Forge when I could have went straight there. Could have beelined it for the Forge, but I was like, "All right, whatever." So I always go to the Forge before a mission or after a mission. Check out all my new gear and all that good stuff. So, well, semi good stuff sometimes. So yeah, let's jump right into it. So one of the first things, I want to do this one first because this is something that should have been done first when you started the game. Should have been immediate setup, and I don't even know. It might be borderline irrational at this point, but I absolutely hate games that don't have screen adjustment settings. So I want to be able to shrink the screen down, make sure it fits my TV properly, or adjust it to how I want it depending on the game's HUD and UI. Anthem does not have that. So BioWare, I don't know why you didn't do that, but after searching the depths of Twitter, Reddit, and Google, I was able to find it deep in the menus. It's go to settings, interface, HUD, then display area adjustment, and it's a percentage. And you can actually shrink it or grow the screen size to your liking. And I was absurdly geeked when I found the settings because half the menu screen, or half the border of the HUD was cut off. So some of the, I don't even know what, just some of the button actions, what the buttons were and their actions, I could only see half of them. So Y and X were the same thing to me, but I was able to find that and I was geeked. Caveat, can't just win. Gotta take the good with the bad. It's not continuous. So you actually have to go, and I tested this. So first time after I found it and logged off, my next time I hopped back on to play, I saw it had been reset. So I was like, what the hell? But I was going over into the menu, over the settings, and lo and behold, as soon as I clicked over the settings, it readjusted itself. And I was thinking, I wonder if it was just the timing of it, as in the number of seconds it took for me to reach the settings was how long it just took for that setting to adjust itself. So I think the next time I loaded back up, I just went to another menu, or not clicking over the settings, and then it would re-engage. So okay, well, that's kind of weird, I guess. And speaking of UI and menus in the HUD, why are the menu buttons and map buttons the way they are? Who designed this? They should be reversed immediately. Why should I press start start menu for the map, but then option, or well, I guess you could say, I don't know what you would call it, but basically like the back button, it might be select on, or what is it on PlayStation? It's actually share. So share to bring up the actual menu. This should be reversed. I don't know why that is that way. That's weird. And then the actual menus themselves, there are so many layers. It should not be this way. It reminds me of old complaint people used to have of one of the Xbox 360 home kind of designs where they were called blades and they're just kind of just stacked on each other. But I didn't have a problem with that, because the way Anthem's menus are set up is completely different, I think, at least in my opinion. And it's just too many layers. It's, I don't know, like it's just stacked and everything's like just layers on layers on layers, racks on racks on racks. So I just got, I don't know, they just a lot of just random weird design stuff, especially when you think about a game. People say it's been, I guess it's been in development for like 6 years, and for it to be the way it is, it's just, I don't know, there's just weird like design stuff. I don't know, but it's not all bad. And so throughout this, there's be some good sprinkled in with the bad. Gotta take the good with the bad. And for a lot of people, there's definitely way more bad than good points about this. So next up, jump into Fort Tarsis, the sort of hub world area that you're in, where it drops to, or I don't say drops to, but it goes into, switches to a first person mode. And originally this was really slow in, at least through both the quote unquote beta weekends. It was slow, and if you press down on the left stick, it almost felt like you were running, and if you look down, your feet look like you're running, but it still felt kind of slow. But now the full release, it does at least seem to be that it's sped up a bit. Still kind of slow. And then one minor gripe, which I didn't expect, but I like jumping. I just think about all the times when you're playing a game, you're not doing much, and you can still jump around when you're like walking around. I don't know. There's just something that I don't like, one of those gamer quirks. And then this is a plus. NPCs. The NPCs in the world of Fort Tarsis are actually kind of lively, and near the, I won't say launch bay, I'll get into that later, but near the area where your javelin sits is kind of like this. It almost looks like a bazaar that you would find, not bazaar as in descriptor, but as far as dealers and whatnot. It just seems like small little shops and just people out, and it is pretty lively. There's music playing, there's one song playing, and I was actually kind of digging it. And people were walking around, they're talking to each other. I saw when I was running back to my javelin to take off on a mission, someone was walking, two people were passing by each other, maybe one might have been running, and the other character passing by reacted and kind of, I don't know, kind of jumped to the side a little bit because the other character was moving so fast, so they must have been running. And so I was like, okay, that's pretty, like, that's a neat little detail. Like, this is a seemingly active world. But then the other side of that is the NPCs that are just standing around and they're not doing anything. They're just like, there's this one who's standing in between this kind of walkway, but it's a small little walkway that's separated by two doors. There doesn't seem to be a purpose. It's just weird. So I don't know what they were doing when the people at Fort Tarsis, why they set this up. There's nothing in between the doors, but this is dude just standing there. And then he starts talking, or you run past him. So I'm trying to get out of there, trying to jump back in my javelin. But this guy starts talking after I'm already run past him, and he started talking about, the difference between, it was something goofy. I don't even know if I still have it, but yeah, it was weird. It was just weird conversation. And then other thing with NPCs, I don't know, they're just weird, because you can have a conversation with somebody. When you do actually engage somebody in a conversation, it's one of the most awkward interactions, or some of the most awkward interactions, plural, that I've ever encountered in video games, I swear. Because the characters will just be, I don't know, it's not like Mass Effect Andromeda facial expression bad, but just awkward. As far as, just imagine like talking to people in real life, and like the awkward situations you've had in your life. That's what it's like, but in video game form. So it's weird in real life, it's weird in a video game. So yeah. And then one of the biggest things about going back to Fort Tarsis after a mission, if you're playing a co-op, it's, I don't know, it's one of the most disjointed like circumstances ever, because especially in cutscenes too. Cutscenes in the middle of a mission are weird too, because it's just, I don't know, you get the feeling that everybody's playing from this one, like everybody's playing as this freelancer and they got their javelin, but then the cutscenes are all set up for single player action. So you go back to go back to Fort Tarsis, or in the middle of a mission, which I had just done recently. And we are full squad, a bunch of randos playing together. And we go in this cutscene, and it's when you run into Faye and I forgot the other dude's name, but you run into them too. And then all of a sudden, the place you're at gets attacked. And so I'm watching this whole cutscene, and in the middle of this, I forgot that I was playing co-op. So I'm at the end of it, I'm like, oh yeah, like I was just playing with people. So what the, I'm like, did they skip? I'm like, can you skip this cutscene? I don't want to skip it because I want to experience the story. But I'm thinking, wait, did these other 3 people I'm playing with skip the story? Are they moving on? I don't know what's happening here. And then, so you're inside, and you see your character kind of run off. And then all of a sudden, you're outside in this battle. So I'm like, I'm trying to process like what just happened, and how long the battle has been going on. Did I legit jump right into the middle of it? Did I jump out and then it started? I don't understand this. I just don't understand it. I don't know what happened. I want to play that with people who talk and have mics active for friends, and be like, all right, so what the hell just happened? Like, were you still in there, or was I just watching this cutscene while everybody else is fighting? So I don't know, but yeah. So that's Fort Tarsis and just kind of some of the co-op action there, which is actually pretty cool. So I kind of get into like missions and javelins. I kind of do all this together. So jump into a mission, you select the mission, and once you get into jump into your javelin is when you can change your javelin, check your loadout, do all that, and set the mission, change the mission if you want, the difficulty, and you can do a lot of stuff with from a social standpoint with your team, invite people, finish the mission. I imagine you can still see it if you quit, but that's what people have said. I've never quit a mission, and I don't think anybody's ever quit on any of the teams that I've been on. And there's this one thing where if you're out of the mission area, quote unquote, which is just vague, it's just a vague thing anyway, because what is the out of the mission area? Because I'm 10 feet away from where everybody's fighting, and all of a sudden I'm getting teleported over there, and I'm looking right at them. And then it also happens in free play, which is weird because free play is just free play. I should just be able to, I should just be in the world and just existing, because you can quit freely. So what does out of the mission area really mean? I don't know. It's just kind of absurd. And regarding missions, there's actually a general lack of variety in the missions and what you do on them, because a lot of them are retrieve some object, take those glowing orbs back to some, I don't know, energy source, whatever, and you just put them there, flying around. You find them in the world or nearby, and you fly them over, and then something opens up, whatever, or you go to fight some scars or do some other stuff. And in the missions, at least for the couple I feel like I've had that involve NPCs or friendly NPCs, when you go to them, like there's the one with Owen early on in the mission I was just on, when he gets in a javelin in the middle of a battle, and then at one point he's just kind of standing, like he kind of basically just screws up, and he's just kind of down on a knee, reeling from the whole attack. And another one I played during the beta weekend, one of the beta weekends, you go to find some character, and then they're just kind of standing around the whole time, and they just wave. I don't even know if they wave. I'm pretty sure they do, but I could be making that up. But they just kind of stand there. It's like, okay, are they going to leave? Do we need to escort them to safety? Are they just going to stand around? Are they going to set up a lemonade stand? I don't know what's going on with them. So I'm like, okay, bye. See you later, I guess. And then enemies like dead ass. Enemies will just pop up out of nowhere. Okay, that's bad. But then they'll just disappear too. I'm like, wait, what? Okay, like, or what's happening here? I don't know if it's a bug or they just dipping out because, hey, we're fighting the Iron Man team over here. I don't know what's going on. And it happened when I was playing a Titan too. I was trying to do some free roam stuff, free play. And I came across the Titan just hanging out, chilling by himself, smashing trees and kicking bushes. I guess that's what you do as a Titan, whatever. Not trying to be a fun hater. So what'd I do? I started shooting the bastard. So I'm getting into it, this gigantic Titan. I think they're called Titans. And I'm shooting him. I'm playing as a Storm. I'm shooting this Titan. I'm throwing light, dropping lightning on his head. Shooting him with this other arc burst kind of thing. Using my assault rifle, marksman. I was using a marksman. And I'm just shooting him. I'm ducking, dodging, flying around. I'm just me. There's other people in the world. There's at least 1 or 2 other people, but they were off in the distance doing something else. So I'm trying to complete some challenges. And I was like, I feel like a fight with this Titan, which is there's a challenge for some Titan or something like that, something related to the Titan in the menu that you need to do. So I'm like, all right, bet, let me try to kill him. So I'm cheesing it by ducking behind gigantic rocks, and all he's got these weird attacks that are kind of tracking me around, and they're finding me deep behind I'm just flying around trees and gigantic mounds of rocks, and I'm just shooting and doing all this stuff. I'm using my ultimate as much as I can, and then so I'm just going and working this out. I'm working the health down, and then all of a sudden he just disappeared. Like this bastard just disappeared. And it happened like it was like, I'm telling you, just deep in this fight. It was me. I'm just deep in this fight, and then I'm not watching his health, so I took my eyes off the health. I mean, which is kind of hard to say because it's all right there, but it was like a blink of an eye, it was just gone. And I'm thinking, wait, I tried to remember like health. I was like, wait, was health down to die? And I still have the footage, so I have to watch it again. Like, I was so confused. Like, what just happened here? Did I kill him? I don't know what's going on. But so it was just so weird. So yeah, enemies like appearing and disappearing out of blue because everybody can teleport apparently. So yeah, and then when you get to the end of a mission, or if you end free play, which like as I said, you can end freely because it's just supposed to be free play. Whatever, consider it. Well, just as it is free play, like it sounds pretty casual, so you can liken it to playing a casual match in multiplayer, Gears of War. Just I'm thinking Gears of War, you can do casual matches, whatever. So it's just like that. Then you get to the end of mission screen where kind of has all your javelins lined up. I think the player character javelin is at the forefront of that. So they're standing in front of everybody, and then you see everybody's XP, rewards, and then you get these little kind of, I don't know, not some medallions, but medals. They could almost be like medals. And you're looking at them, they're little symbols in a circle, but you have absolutely no idea what the hell they mean. None whatsoever. And there's, I don't even know if there's in like the Cortex or Encyclopedia. I haven't checked for them. They're not easily accessed, I'll say that. Except when you load up the game and come to that message screen in the beginning, and it says, oh, you have new messages. And it tells you, I think it tells you all the things that you last accomplished, your last mission outing, whatever. And it actually lists them there. So it says, I don't know if you're looking at them as I'm recording this, but it actually lists them out there. So, okay, that's cool. But I should actually check the menus and kind of see if there's a better way to kind of access all of those. Let's talk about the javelins and the weapons. As I said, take the good with the bad. Some of the good, the javelins feel great flying. They really do. Like, and the main two I like, Interceptor and Storm. Interceptor is the most agile. The Storm can hover, and the Storm just looks dope, period, because it has kind of a cloak, which I've customized. So mine are all blue and black, and it's like the cloak is blue and black, and it looks stupid dope. So go check that out. I think it was on my Instagram. I might have put it on Twitter too. As I said, flying, now overheating is an issue, and I wonder what the thought process was in designing the overheating element. I don't really know if I guess you could call it a mechanic. The javelins overheat, and if you hover, at least for the Storm, it just goes pretty slow. But what you can do, how you can combat it while still flying, is if you fly under waterfalls, if you fly over bodies of water, rivers. I don't think there's really many. Well, I guess there are some lakes in there maybe. But if you fly real low over those, it'll cool your javelin, cool the heat thrusters, and then you kind of see it turn blue, and it'll kind of hold steady or just drop down altogether depending on where you're at. So that's a pretty cool mechanic. But then when you do overheat, if you fly too high in the air, and basically it's almost like a stall. I don't know, does it overheat or does it just stall? It might, but you just hit a ceiling and then just kind of brings you back down. But when you actually overheat, like the bar turns red, it says overheating, and then you basically just crash out the sky, basically just stall, and then just down to the ground. As far as customization, which is always big when you get to kind of create something, create a character, create, in this case, exosuit. The color variations are crazy deep. You get a material kind of thing, which kind of changes the look as well of certain patterns for the javelins. But the parts, because basically like the 4 javelins, Interceptor, Storm, Colossus and Ranger, they're pretty much what they are. So not changing a whole lot with parts. I guess people were hoping for more, but I don't really know. I never really sat and thought about what you could change besides. They do have sections on there, but I haven't looked back at it, so I don't even know exactly what they're, I don't know what the depths of that could be or how far they could take that. So imagine you could do pretty well with that though, just adding certain parts to it though. But one quick thing, I said this in my Ranger video that I uploaded. That one is where you can definitely see the, well, besides flying exosuit kind of thing, the Ranger is the clear, because that's the default javelin for this game, which is understandable. It's kind of the baseline model, I guess. But that one has the clear Iron Man and War Machine influence in it. It's like plain as day. At least that one shows the most, if that was a key influence, which I'm sure it was, and that's okay, because those are cool. Like flying armor, suits of armor. Like, who doesn't love that? Another good aspect here, talking about the javelins in combat, are the abilities. And as I said, I talk about the storm a lot because that's the main one I use. Then when you're using it's lightning strike, I forgot that, I think it's called lightning strike, but you get to kind of select these two, at least for storm, select these two abilities, left button, right button, button, and I guess L1, R1 for PlayStation. You select these abilities, and this one lightning attack for the storm, which I absolutely love. I love using this thing, especially in a crowd, a bigger enemy, just bring that lightning down. It looks dope. And it actually reminds me, when you use that and you have a primer, which is maybe ice or flame attack, whatever, especially from another player, and use that and you get a combo with your lightning strike, it's beautiful because it just looks cool. The visual of it looks cool, it sounds good, and it almost kind of crackles on screen. And if you ever played X-Men Legends, or even I guess you could say Marvel Ultimate Alliance, maybe 2, when you got the, what's that one? One of those, I think it might have been 2, where you could combine powers a little more. But yeah, at least in X-Men Legends, thinking about Storm and just a lot of the power combinations and just having all these powers go off on screen, and man, it just lights it up. It also reminds me of Star Ocean 5, which wasn't a great title, but that's not the point. And using a lot of those abilities in the big battle there, when you can switch around to multiple characters and you just got all this energy, and just makes the whole, like, just, I don't know, it just livens the battlefield up. So that's pretty cool. Now weapons, as I said before, when you're doing your loadout, you can't test the weapons before mission, you can't change during a mission, and when you get gear, you're not able to see what you get in the middle of the mission. You won't know until you get back to the forge. People compare this to Division and Destiny, and I think Division is the better of the three. Other the gameplay of that one, I'm not going to go too far into. I think of Division, but just as a comparison, the gunplay on that one feels way better there. I feel like the feedback when you're firing a weapon in Anthem should be a little stronger. And then there are a variety of classes, which is cool, but their designs from model to model don't vary as much as you would expect. A lot of the, even from class to class, some of them kind of look pretty similar. It's not like, just imagine Metro Exodus when you're modding a weapon and like it's clear you're just changing attachments and just moving parts around, but that's just because that's what you're doing. You're just modding this, like these few weapons. But in Anthem, that was a clear design choice, where a lot of them look like that, and a lot of the pistols look similar to guns from Star Wars, which is, I don't know, that was probably something they did intentionally. I don't know. Another thing with controls, reloading your weapon and switching your weapon. Who designed this? Why am I pressing X to reload and then holding it to switch weapons? Countless times I've done that without realizing it, and all of a sudden I'm firing a marksman's weapon and I just needed to reload my my assault rifle. Why? This is so weird. Why is that a thing? I don't know why. It's like, it might sound petty, but it's really, in the middle of a fight, I want to switch weapons. I feel like the hold, in most games you're holding the button to reload it and pressing it to switch weapons because it should be quicker. So it should be quicker to switch weapon than it is to at least in the game anyway, than to reload it. So that it's just like that, and then going back to the UI and the menus, they're all just kind of, I wouldn't say this is clunky, but they're just so, both of those are just so counterintuitive and just an odd design choice. So I don't know why, but that one just, and I feel like it's too late. You couldn't just change it now, because I guess you could. I imagine tons of people would just get used to it really quick, because that's just how most games operate. So certain things, I guess, if you want to be in your own, because again, that was a clear design choice. They made that decision. You want to do something, because that's why a lot of games, first-person shooters, controls are pretty similar, because it's pretty standard. Then you change them. If you change them, why? What's the thought process, the logic behind it? Because that's a clear decision. You're like, all right, we want to do it this way. Why? So those are my thoughts on Anthem. As I said, I was making notes from the beta weekend and the final release, because I wanted to share some impressions, since I didn't get to do that after either of the beta weekends, quote unquote. But before I go, since I didn't do this from the outset, I want to kind of share some of my initial expectations from the reveal and then through the full release. So when it was first revealed, it was E3, I was just looking at it, I was like, okay, this looks kind of cool. Exosuits, this kind of bright, vibrant world, and just kind of it was a pretty world, like as far as colors. So you get the green and just the daylight. So all that looked cool. I was curious about how the exosuits felt, the javelins, how combat was, what the world was like, and the story, of course. And then as we got to the beta weekend, kind of saw some of the issues that the game had, and then into the full release, a lot of those still persist, so they're still there. That's just, a lot of that was just legit design decisions, some highly questionable, others just outright odd. But there definitely is some good to this game, but I would be very careful. If you have any interest in this, I would look into Redbox to see if they have it. I can't remember, last time I checked Redbox, I don't remember if they had it or not. I was looking to see what else was in stock, but I would definitely do that if you have any interest in it. As I said, there's some good here, but there's a lot of bad content wise, enemies, and just kind of seeing, I don't know, we'll see what happens with the future of this. And also to state that this one is a pretty big one. I already kind of knew, especially from the beta weekend, and this will go up before the weekend before, but the Division 2 was right around the corner, a couple days away in fact, and I already knew basically kind of how Anthem was, but I still wanted to experience it. So with Division 2 coming and knowing how much I was into the first Division and into both of the Division beta weekends, and I'm digging that one has some issues as well, and I'm hoping those get fixed. But I'm way more into Division than I am Anthem, and than I was with Destiny. So I already knew when Anthem was coming, I was gonna, part of the, I guess you could say, part of the selling point for me was I know a couple close people that I rock with, and we play a lot together. So I was like, all right, we're gonna be playing this together. So that is that on, whenever you have a game, no matter if you into it or just kind of on the fence about it, if you already have people lined up that you regularly rock with and they're playing it too, so that automatically increases the game's enjoyment. So that's what I had for Anthem going in. But I know when Division 2 comes out, I'm pretty much dropping Anthem, but I'm still kind of thinking about it. I might be, if I'm playing co-op, so I could potentially be jumping back between both of them, but I'm definitely going to be legit into the Division just because that one is so much better. So I already know that going in, and I definitely wanted to kind of share that with all of you so you kind of understand how I'm looking at these with all these games, period. And to finish it out, I want to hear from everybody. Legit, I'm curious fellow like that. I want to know who's playing it right now. What do you think of it? Are you enjoying it? Are you hating it? Expectations, high, low. Curious how everybody was kind of looking at this going into it, and then now we've had it's been out for a couple weeks now, I think. I'm not even sure, can't remember when the launch was, but so yeah, just let me know, share your comments below, and your favorite javelin, loadout, all that good stuff. So yeah, this is GENOthaDRAGON, and thanks for watching, and happy gaming.